Boeing stopped making Boeing 747s just a few years ago. Airlines retired them in droves. Commentators dismissed four-engine jets as relics of a bygone era. So why are some of the world's biggest airlines now pressuring Boeing into building flying giants again? This is not nostalgia. This is a fascinating mix of technology, economics, and timing. Boeing's jumbo jet story went from must-have to extinction, and now possibly back again. Let's start with what jumbo jet actually means. Originally, the term described the world's first wide-bodies, like the original Boeing 747, the McDonnell Douglas DC-10, and the Lockheed L-1011. These big jets made long-haul travel possible for the masses, especially after deregulation of air travel. The Boeing 747 was the clear winner among those early wide-bodies. While that plane evolved from the Boeing 747-100 to the Boeing 747-400, it did not actually grow much in passenger capacity. The Boeing 747 entered service with Pan Am in 1970. The aircraft revolutionized air travel by reducing per-seat costs on long-haul routes. Boeing delivered over 1,500 Boeing 747s across all variants during 54 years of production. The Boeing 740-400, introduced in 1989, became the most commercially successful variant with 694 aircraft delivered. Airlines operated these jets profitably on high-density routes connecting major hubs worldwide. The economics shifted in the 2000s. Twin-engine aircraft like the Boeing 777 and Boeing 787 offered similar range with lower operating costs. The 777-300ER, certified in 2004, provided 365-seat capacity with 2 engines instead of 4. Fuel efficiency improved 20% per seat compared to the Boeing 740-400. Airlines could operate the same routes with 25% lower fuel consumption. Maintenance costs dropped significantly with 2 engines requiring service instead of 4. ETOPS regulations enabled this transition. Extended range twin-engine operational performance standards allowed twin-engine jets to fly routes previously restricted to 3- or 4-engine aircraft. The FAA approved 180-minute ETOPS for the 777 in 1993. This certification permitted flights up to 3 hours from the nearest suitable airport on 1 engine. Airlines no longer needed 4 engines for transoceanic routes. Boeing launched the Boeing 747-8 program in 2005 as a response to the Airbus A380. The Boeing 740-8 Intercontinental stretched the fuselage 18.3 feet compared to the Boeing 740-400. Passenger capacity increased to 467 in typical 3-class configuration. The aircraft featured GNX engines, raked wingtips, and improved aerodynamics. Boeing projected 15% better fuel efficiency per seat than the Boeing 747-400. The market responded weakly. Boeing received 51 orders for the Boeing 740-8 passenger variant. Lufthansa became the launch customer with 20 aircraft. Korean Air ordered 10. Air China purchased 7. Total passenger variant deliveries reached 47 aircraft before Boeing ended production. The final Boeing 740-8 Intercontinental was delivered to Korean Air in 2017. The Boeing 740-8 freighter variant achieved better commercial success. Boeing has delivered over 100 freighter variants. Atlas Air, UPS, and Cargolux operate substantial fleets. The freighter market values maximum cargo volume over fuel efficiency. However, Boeing expects to end Boeing 747 production entirely in 2026 as remaining freighter orders are fulfilled. Emirates represents the critical customer driving renewed interest in large aircraft. The carrier operates 116 Airbus A380s as of January 2026. Emirates flies these aircraft from a single hub at Dubai International Airport. The airport operates at approximately 90 million passengers annually, near its maximum capacity. Emirates cannot increase flight frequencies without obtaining additional airport slots. Larger aircraft provide the only viable path to capacity growth. Sir Tim Clark, Emirates president, has advocated for ultra-large aircraft for over a decade. Emirates initially sought an A380neo with new generation engines. Airbus declined to develop the variant without substantial financial commitment. Emirates then requested a complete A380 replacement. Airbus estimated development costs at $20 billion. Emirates declined to fund the program independently. Boeing's 777X program offers Emirates an alternative. The 777-9 variant seats approximately 426 passengers in typical configuration. This represents 50 more seats than the 777-300ER, but fewer than the A380's 550-seat capacity. Emirates ordered 205 777X aircraft across multiple variants, representing $96 billion at list prices. Emirates announced support for a 777-10 feasibility study during the November 2025 Dubai Air Show. The 777-10 would extend the fuselage beyond the 777-9 configuration. Boeing has not disclosed specific capacity targets. Industry analysts estimate 470 to 490 seats in typical three-class layout. The aircraft would become the largest twin-engine widebody ever built. Boeing must determine whether the GE9X engine provides sufficient thrust for the stretched fuselage at maximum takeoff weight. The company must verify the aircraft can meet single-engine climb requirements following engine failure at V1 decision speed. Boeing faces substantial certification challenges. The 777-9 has experienced repeated delays since the program launched in 2013. Initial entry into service was projected for 2020. Boeing now targets 2027 for 777-9 certification. The FAA identified issues during flight testing, including structural concerns with thrust links connecting engines to wings. Boeing suspended portions of testing in 2024 to address these problems. Additional regulatory scrutiny following Boeing's 737 MAX certification failures has extended timelines significantly. The 777-10 would require separate certification even with commonality to the 777-9 airframe. The stretched fuselage changes aerodynamic properties, weight distribution, and structural loading. Boeing must conduct extensive ground testing, including ultimate load testing, where the airframe is stressed to 150% of limit load. The company must demonstrate emergency evacuation within 90 seconds with the higher passenger count. Flight testing would span thousands of hours across multiple test aircraft. Financial considerations complicate the 777-10 business case. Boeing reported $4.9 billion in charges during the third quarter of 2025 related to 777X delays. Total pre-tax charges for the program exceed $15 billion as of late 2025. The company manufactures completed 777-9 aircraft that sit in storage awaiting certification. Each month of delay adds costs without generating revenue. Launching the 777-10 variant would require additional investment, while the 777-9 remains uncertified. Market demand beyond Emirates remains uncertain. No U.S. carriers have ordered 777X aircraft. American Airlines, United Airlines, and Delta Airlines selected the Boeing 787 and A350 for long-haul fleet renewal. These airlines prioritize network flexibility over maximum capacity. Airport slot constraints affect limited airports globally. Most carriers do not face capacity limitations requiring 450-plus seat aircraft. Boeing ended 2025 with 681 unfilled orders for 777 variants, including 777X and 777F freighters. The 777X backlog includes orders from Emirates, Qatar Airways, Lufthansa, Singapore Airlines, Cathay Pacific, and All Nippon Airways. Several airlines have deferred delivery positions as certification delays extended. Boeing reclassified 33 777X orders under accounting rules due to uncertainty around delivery timing. The commercial aviation industry is expected to need more than 7,800 new wide-body aircraft over the next 2 decades, according to Boeing's commercial market outlook. However, most demand targets the 250 to 350 seat segment served by the Boeing 787 and A350. Ultra-large aircraft represent a small fraction of wide-body demand. Boeing CEO Kelly Ortberg assumed leadership in August 2024. The company prioritizes stabilizing existing programs over launching new variants. Boeing is ramping Boeing's 737 MAX production following FAA approval to increase monthly rates. The Boeing 787 program is expanding with a $1 billion South Carolina facility investment. The 777-9 remains Boeing's focus for certification. Emirates cannot wait indefinitely. The carrier's A380 fleet requires replacement within 10 to 15 years based on typical aircraft service life. Without the 777-10 or a comparable alternative, Emirates faces capacity constraints that limit network growth. The airline has explored used A380 acquisitions from other carriers. However, the available supply cannot meet long-term requirements. Boeing's jumbo jet future depends on execution. The 777-10 feasibility study will determine technical viability and commercial justification. Boeing must first deliver the 777-9 successfully. The company must demonstrate consistent quality, meet certification requirements, and rebuild airline confidence. Whether Boeing pursues the 777-10 will depend on these factors. The market for jumbo jets exists. Whether Boeing can profitably serve that market remains the critical question facing the company in 2026.